All right, guys, welcome to SEO Cheat Guides. Today I got a special guest here with me, Daniel Veiga. He is the founder of a rapidly growing Facebook group, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard of, Entrepreneurial Hustle. He's a Facebook ad expert and is here to share some of his inside tricks and tips with our audience, and hopefully you guys get a lot out of this. So Daniel, thanks a lot for taking the time for joining us today. And why don't you tell our audience just a little bit about yourself, your background, and what got you into this business?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Stuart. So once again, my name is Daniel Veiga. I started my entrepreneurship journey as a freelance developer, So I did that for about 10 years, working, coding 80 hours a week, just kind of grinding it out, working from project to project to project. And yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I thought I would be doing that for like the rest of my life, but I mean, after 10 years, I'm like, that's enough. So I mean, besides that, I had done kind of like work at home jobs, just trying to find something to just be able to support my family and still stay at home, and kind of, be able to see my wife and take care of the kids whenever needed, things like that. Cause I couldn't do that 9-to-5 grind anymore. Growing up having different jobs, I probably had about 20 different jobs yeah, it was crazy. I was never happy with the current position I was in. So I was trying to find something to, always trying to find like that next big thing, whether it was a job or then eventually entrepreneurship. So it's been a roller coaster, but it's been an exciting one, and it's definitely, been fulfilling. So
when you transitioned out of programming and started the first thing, so what was the first thing you started selling on your own?
As an entrepreneur, you mean? Well, it wasn't necessarily. Well, I'll take it back. I did sell one product about 9 years ago. But before that, I was kind of working. I would try to find those work at home jobs where I would be like an inbound call center rep or tech support representative for different companies. But, even then, I was still always trying to find something to get my feet wet with internet marketing. But I actually did sell a product about 9 years ago. It was like a little video MLM marketing course that I created. It was like a 5-video series. I sold it for $3,000 and I sold one copy.
Nice.
And that was it. That was it.
Did your mom enjoy it, or was it to someone you didn't know?
I had no idea. I don't even know how the guy found me, to be honest, because I didn't market it. I mean, 9 years ago, it was more forums,
Yes.
And forums were huge, and I started off in the whole forum, with just a whole bunch of digital marketing and Warrior Forum and all those. And I don't know where I sold it, but I sold one copy, and I was super happy.
Awesome.
I was like, this actually works.
So what did you do from there?
From there, I just always trying to find that thing, and I could never find it. So eventually I found development, and I did that for about 10 years.
Okay.
So then from there, I was always trying to find, my way back into like internet marketing, to try to find a course or a product that I could create that would kind of, allow me to have like that type of lifestyle. But I could never find it, and so I continued my journey as a freelance developer. But that allowed me to kind of hone my skills as a technical guy, and kind of brought me to where I am now. So which is great.
So fast forward to where we are today. You eventually found Facebook advertising. I mean, you're a Facebook advertising expert today. When did that transition kind of start to come to play?
About the end of 2015, so about a good year and a half. I found a client actually local to me. I never have any local clients. I always said to myself, any client that I get, whether it's development or later on whatever happens, I don't want to have local clients because they could be a big pain in the butt. So so I actually found a local client. They were an e-commerce website and they needed help. So I got my foot in the door. I worked with them part-time, and the main goal was to me kind of improve their e-commerce, the e-commerce site that they had. So I did some development, kind of, did some redesigns on their site, and eventually they wanted to start getting into some direct marketing. So I was like, well, I'm kind of into Facebook ads. I kind of want to try it out. Let's just, see what happens. So I did that, and the first 2 months of generating leads for them, they grossed about 65,000.
Nice.
of revenue. So they were pretty happy. So we continued on and on until I stopped working for them part time. I was like, I just can't do this anymore. They wanted me to come in like 3 hours every day, and I'm like, no, that's not me.
So how did you get your first clients then? And once you kind of, sounds like you dipped your toe in, you got some success, you see that you had some value you can add to the market. So how did you go about landing the first clients that allowed you to transition into this business you have today?
Right. So besides them, my first client that I actually tried getting was a process that took 6 months. So January of last year, 2016, I was looking through an ad on Facebook. So I was, there was this ad that this gentleman kept coming up all the time of how he was training people using Facebook ads. So I was kind of looking through the comments and kind of just seeing, how people would respond, or if he would respond to them right away. And I found this guy that didn't get a response. So I sent him a message, and it wasn't until June, like 6 months later, that he replied to me, and he was like, yeah, I'm so interested. And I'm like, okay, let's start. So he was actually my first mortgage client, my first real Facebook ads client solely, and he was a mortgage broker.
Oh, nice.
And he did very well. So I earned him about $30,000 in commissions with about $2,000 ad spend.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And it just kept going from there, I take it? You found some other clients, word of mouth?
Right, yeah. So I kind of did the same thing and looking through different Facebook groups and just trying to find someone that I could serve and help and kind of improve their business. So I started getting into mortgage. I did mortgage for a while, I did real estate. And then a couple months later, I found my niche, which is the current clients I have right now, which are chiropractors and weight loss centers.
I know that space all too well.
Right.
So what were some of the early challenges you faced in terms of growing the business, right? So once you started to get the momentum, you started to realize, hey, there's a pattern here. You recognize the pattern. Chiropractors are, selling a similar service in different geographies. What were some of the problems or challenges you faced in terms of growing your business?
The biggest problem was going after the wrong type of clients. So I didn't really understand, that I didn't understand the right type of client to go after. And what I mean by that are those that are spending money already on marketing. Okay. So I was going after anybody, and those anybody's were people who built their business by word of mouth. So they didn't understand the concept that they had to follow up. They had a sales process, and that any lead that would come in, they would have a flow to kind of sell them on the back end. So I didn't understand that. So my first 10 trials, my first 10 chiropractors that I got on as a trial, I didn't close any of them because they were all the bad type of clients, the ones that weren't spending any money on marketing. So I didn't want to educate them where they had to get that flow and process. So then on my 11th one, I'm like, okay, let me try to go after someone who's actually who's already trying something online. And I did that, and then I finally did a trial. I did a 2-week trial with him, and then he finally signed on. And then from there, word of mouth has been the way I've been growing my business for now. Awesome. But eventually that first couple were, just going after the wrong ones.
Well, I mean, again, knowing that business, right? So those guys that work on word of mouth, they really don't have a sales process. They don't have any process in the back. They're good at what they do. They
Right.
get those referrals. Those referrals are pre-sold coming in the door, so they don't really have to move them through a sales process. So I imagine when you're starting to give them marketing where the person doesn't know, like, and trust them coming into the business, that probably is a recipe for disaster.
Right, definitely.
So now that you're doing the chiro, do you work with any other type of businesses, or is chiro really where you've honed in?
No, I mean, the majority of my clients are chiropractors. I also have a weight loss center as well. I've had 2 weight loss centers. But I mean, anyone that I see that I can help and that needs help and has that system already in place, that I'm willing to help them out. So I like working with local businesses rather than like big national brands that want to do like a larger scale. So I've always, even when I did development, I always worked with local businesses. So I like making sure that they grow and they can feed their families and be able to serve the community. So that's kind of where I've stuck to.
So you've niched down into your mostly Cairo. In terms of geography, I know you're in Texas, so are you working with
Right.
companies solely in Texas, or it doesn't really matter the geography as long as they're within continental US, then you're good to go?
Yeah, I mean, not even the US. I mean, you can, whether you're running ads or you're doing SEO, I mean, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a product or a service that you can help grow a business, you can help anyone. I mean, it doesn't matter. It could be in the US, Canada, UK, Australia. I've had clients in Australia before. I'm working with a client in Canada and also in the UK. So you can do this. You can live anywhere and you can serve anyone.
Absolutely. So you've been doing this for a while. Sounds like about a year and a half. So looking back now, to the younger version of yourself who was looking to find something online to make money. I mean, there's a lot of people that are just beginning that journey that you've kind of traveled on for a period of time. What advice would you give to a younger version of yourself in terms of things you wish you knew 5, 7 years ago? I mean, obviously with the internet, things change so quickly, so some stuff may not be applicable to back then. But what's some words of wisdom you'd give to a younger version of yourself?
I would say, if you're looking to, get involved in something that you're not familiar with, study it. If you're going to buy a program, if you're going to do consulting, do that, but apply the knowledge that you're learning, like right away. Don't continue reading and studying material for months and months and months without applying anything, because that's like the worst thing you can do. You have to apply the knowledge that you're learning in order to fail. And if you're going to fail, then you can understand what it is that you did wrong, so you can improve and continue growing from there. So I think that's the problem with a lot of millennials or just people who are coming from a full-time job into like the online marketing, is that they just want to consume as much information as they can without applying it. And that's kind of like the downfall of them giving up eventually, because they're like, well, it doesn't work. So.
There's a lot of information out there, so you're definitely never going to consume
Yes.
it all, right? I mean, there's just too much information. Definitely, I found that in my business as well. I mean, nothing gives you the experience like experience.
Right, exactly.
So fail forward faster and then kind of learn from the mistakes, and then you'll be able to make that shift as you go along. So how do you currently divide your time? So what are the major activities you're kind of doing in your business now? I know you've built Entrepreneurial Hustle. It's one of the fastest growing Facebook groups for sure that I've seen, certainly in recent history. I mean, what are you at now? 7,500, 8,000 people?
7,800. Yeah, it's grown 1,300 in the last week alone.
There you go. So what do you think the key to that is? What's the magic?
Giving value. I like not just going live, but just sharing as much content, and whether it's new techniques or just old things that I've tried, or struggles that I've gone through, or failures. I think just sharing as much from what I've gone through that can help someone else, and just new techniques and strategies that I've been doing with Facebook ads in general has really, I think, a lot of people have appreciated that. And because all the entire growth of the group has been organic right now. It's been about three months in a week old, and it's I haven't ran any kind of paid marketing towards that at all. So I think as far as growing a group, just giving tremendous value, like more value than you can ever imagine, definitely helps to grow.
Absolutely. So in terms of your business now, is how much time are you spending on Entrepreneurial Hustle, the group, versus working with Cairo clients?
My Cairo clients, I mean, when you set up campaigns, they're pretty much, set in, I mean, not set in stone, but, you can pretty much set them up and kind of let them go on its own, and check, you have to check up on them every so often, I mean, it's not like you just run it and you just let it go for months and months without ever checking on it, because that's when things start going downhill. But as far as time-wise, for each client that I manage on Facebook ads, a week I would say probably maybe 2 hours. I check on their ads and kind of just make sure everything's working smoothly, get in contact with the client, make sure they're happy with the leads, and make sure that they can convert them. If there's any issue that they see, then that's where they communicate that back with me, and I adjust anything necessary. As far as the group, the Entrepreneur Hustle group, that definitely takes a lot of time. I mean, hours, I couldn't even, maybe 15, 20 hours a week I probably spend on that alone.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it definitely takes time to grow it. And then I have my own group of students as well with my course that I spend time with as well. So, it's not like I'm spending only 4 hours a week working. It's definitely not the case.
Tim Ferriss isn't calling you, no?
I have his book, but and maybe at one point, maybe when I kind of, let the reins off the business and I bring more and more people into it, I can kind of back off. But I've always been the person that I like working in the business, even though you should be working on the business. I still like working in the business because that's what my passion is, and I like to see it grow and kind of see where it goes from there. So.
Fantastic. So a lot of people that would probably be watching us, at least from the SEO Cheat Guides community, are doing search engine optimization as their digital marketing kind of agency setup.
Right.
Certainly, I would say today Facebook ads are something where traffic's traffic, whether you're getting it from Facebook. It's just a different part of traffic, right? I mean, on Google, if you're going into organic, there's a buyer intent. On social, there's a little bit more of a nuance that you're going to want to use. So what do you see as the advantages? What are the learning curves? With SEO, there's a lot to learn. I'm sure there's a lot to learn in terms of nuances with Facebook ads, but just maybe giving people a brief kind of outline of what that would entail, starting a Facebook marketing kind of agency, if you want to call it that.
Right. Definitely, going after the right type of clients, find a niche, become an expert in that niche, because when you do that, the referrals will be a lot easier, as you have multiple clients in the same niche, they'll start talking about you, and it'll be easier for you to kind of start a campaign when it comes to, like, for example, like a chiropractor, rather than like another niche such as real estate that you may have no idea how to begin. But doing that, and then just understanding that the market on Facebook ads, they're a cold market. So there's three types of audiences: warm, cold, and hot. So you have to adjust your copy depending on who you're targeting, and if it's the first campaign that you're running, and then your retargeting messages can be a little bit warmer, so things like that. So just understanding how to convey your message for that special offer that they have for their business.
Fantastic. So what do we think the timeline for a newbie jumping into Facebook advertising with appropriate mentor, following an appropriate course? Just to give people a kind of a perspective, I would say with SEO, there's definitely a learning curve. Seems to be a longer and longer learning curve, and there seems to be the big G likes to change things up. So not that Facebook's probably not changing things up, but what would you say is a time period where someone can become competent, where they can go out and actually help a local business?
Right. Facebook changes stuff all the time, because last month the middle of February, they definitely had a change, and things kind of went wacky a little bit for about 2 weeks. But in general, at least to understand the concepts, I would say 2 weeks maybe. It really doesn't take that long. So understand the concepts, and then just understand that you have to try different things. With Facebook ads, just because you run one campaign for one client in one market doesn't always mean that campaign is going to work just as well in another market. Because local businesses, depending on your audience size, that has a lot to do with how things are going to perform. And you may run a traffic campaign where a leads campaign might work better. So there's always a learning curve as well, but I think it's a lot faster than really anything else. I know I've done Google AdWords. That's been a big elephant. That takes a long time to understand, and the SEO game always changes. SEO is good for long-term strategies. I don't put down any other type of marketing efforts, especially when you can combine different things like Google AdWords plus Facebook ads. That has huge advantages as well. So.
Absolutely. They're all tactics to get some traffic. Everybody's trying to get new leads, new clients into their business. At the end of the day, it's all about putting dollars in the clients' pockets.
That's right.
So whatever's the most efficient, providing ROI is really the tool we should be using.
Right. I agree.
So kind of an off-topic question. So what purchase in the last couple of months, let's say the last 6 months, did you spend $100 on that you're really enjoying using?
Does it have to be 100 or more?
You can. Hey, you're a wealthy man. Tell us something more.
My camera, my Canon 80D.
Yep.
That's been I've been having a lot of fun with that. So
Nice. Well, I saw you you figured out how to do it on the live stream.
yes, yeah, definitely. That plus I know you asked me about the little my little recorder
Yeah.
that allows me to go live. It's the Ultra Studio Blackmagic.
Okay.
Yeah, that was about 140 bucks. That definitely helped me overcome that ability to go live. You really need that. So it doesn't matter how powerful your computer is, you're still going to need something to kind of render it before it hits the computer.
Awesome.
So those two things have helped. I mean, there's been other things like my lighting equipment I have kind of in the background over here, and things like that, Wirecast. So just little things like that. Yeah, your little lights, yeah. Well, this room is pretty dark in itself, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I actually have tons of natural light, but it always helps to have some lights in the background.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's next? Where are you going to take the business? What do you see happening in the next 3 to 6 months? I mean, you've built a group of 9,000 people in 3.5 months. So what do you see kind of coming down the pike?
I mean, just continue growing my hustle group. By growing that and providing really good value, that kind of feeds into my Facebook ads course. Because all my students have come from that group alone, So I mean, I know at one point I'll, probably need to spend marketing dollars on growing my course or the group itself, but I'm trying to avoid that from happening,
Sure.
And if I don't have to spend marketing dollars, then I won't. But I know at some point I will, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, but just continue growing my course, more client acquisitions, continue scaling the agency side of the business as well. So there's definitely a lot of things going on.
Perfect. Well,
and then just developing new courses as I see fit, all that kind of good stuff.
Perfect. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us here at SEO Cheat Guides. And for those of you watching, I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, definitely hit the subscribe button below, share. I'll drop links to Daniel's Entrepreneurial Hustle. And is there anywhere else you want me to link them to, or is that the place to send them in terms of the Facebook group?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, the Hustle group is good enough for me.
Perfect. I will make sure to drop a link for that as well. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Daniel, thanks a lot for taking the time.
All right, thanks, Stuart.
Cheers.
Yeah.